think it's going live now. So now we need to do Rumble and Twitch.
No, refreshing.
Well, it takes a minute.
Well, how can I be first? People are going to get there before me.
You can still type first, even before we're live.
Oh, that's cheating.
Oh. It's cheating if it's not live?
Apparently, according to onepauljpowers.com. Okay, you should.
That is. I hope he has legally changed his name to that.
Funny enough,
you did.
No, but I've been looking into like trademark and all that stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay. I feel like that's another thing that's expensive. Like that's
yeah.
LLC,
and that's why you know put that behind an LLC, and you start really getting into the legal
weeds,
fees and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there are certain things with my podcast that I kind of wish I could do that. I'm very proud of the names that I've come up with and the catchphrases that is most of which I just stumbled into. To be honest,
that works.
Okay, let me get this. Share screen. So share audio. Share.
Oh my gosh!
I was just typing that. Welcome, Ashley.
Aw. Hey, Jens, looking forward to this episode. Thank you. Yeah, we're still
Where's
getting
the
ready.
chat? I can't see the chat.
It's on Twitch.
Yeah, you have to open
TV
or YouTube
/ Retro Rewind.
I would go over to Twitch if I had my phone. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go on there and mute the video feed.
I mean, here I can. Here's the. I can give you the link to just see the chat.
Okay, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But then you can't chat back, but that's fine.
No, you can't.
Well, I mean, you can.
You know how I chat back with the chat? I talk.
No. I mean, you can still type in this chat also.
Oh,
so,
you can.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well then,
that's
pauljpowers.com is full of lies.
Well, I don't know everything.
By the way, hi Ashley. Hi Rushmore Andy. How you guys doing? Like I said, we're still getting set up. Hopefully we'll be
Hi. How are you? Very nice to see you all again.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Oh my word.
Shut up, Roy.
Name it Roy. Go, got that. Okay.
The award goes to Godzilla.
Yo, Bobo's first. Well done, Bobo.
Where's that link I was promised? pauljpowers.com.
I don't have it.
Roy. Okay. Franciscus, where is it?
In the Discord. I just put it there.
Oh, it's in the Discord. See, I logged off the Discord. That's the problem.
That's not my fault.
It's hot potato here. Is it on Twitch? Is it on Discord? Is it in Video Ninja?
How would I
Where
send
is
you a link to the Twitch on Twitch if you can't access the Twitch?
Video Ninja sounds like the name of a band. Or a very strange comic book character. Or, yeah.
Oh, wait.
I am Ninja. We are Ninja.
There's that too. But no, I was thinking more, how's it go? I want to eat more something. It's for the Beats. It's one of the Beats songs.
I need more allowance.
Yeah, that's it. I need more allowance. Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to leave Discord on in case communication happens.
No, that's the only one I'm planning on sending. We don't usually message a lot
until the next one.
Until the next one.
You're second guessing your decision to be here? No, Ashley. No second guessing. You made the right call. Yes, exactly. You're not married to Roy. Thank you.
Okay, I see nothing in the stream chat. It says, "Welcome to the chat room." There's Ashley.
There. You see it now. You just don't see the past ones.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was very confused there. I'm like, you're not seeing it?
Oh, look, chat rules. Got it.
I see you, Paul. Okay, so let me go through this checklist now, guys. Now that we're in a better spot.
We haven't started yet, so we're still in
Edna mode.
Yes.
Edna mode.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, I can't see that. Oh, there we go.
Start the broadcast. Start the. Oh. Check.
Do you have your official Retro Rewind podcast bingo cards ready, Bobo?
What? There are bingo
Oh.
cards?
That's
No
one
one
of those-
told me about bingo cards.
I need to make up some new ones.
Okay.
Baba,
It's
would
been
you
a
tell me
while.
a little bit about your day, please?
Who?
Baba.
A little bit about my day. I woke up because I thought that's a
Okay.
good way to
That's
start
good,
the
thank
morning.
you. And Nathan.
Oh,
That's good. You're not dead.
Okay, good. Paul, please.
Yeah, this is Paul coming in. I'm wondering if I'm too close, or is this
No,
better?
you're not.
Paul's
I'd
coming
say
in
you could
hot
either
over
be
here.
Oh, really? For me, he's not. I'd say either be
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. It was metaphorical.
be a little closer or turn your gain up a little bit.
How about now? Is this okay?
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
perfect. Please do
gosh.
that. No.
welcome to
He's
Burger.
eating the mic over here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, who will save Generation X? Ashley says, any way to disable the rage comments?
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Let me do that so they're not
Totally
continually
good
like
thing to do.
spitting out at you guys. Let's see. Settings, timed actions. Oh, it's
You know
disabled.
what? If I do get it trademarked, I will sign a waiver allowing you free use of it whenever you want. Who will save
Free
Generation
use of what?
Drop my-
PaulJPowers.com, the name.
Oh. The screaming. Yeah.
How did we
that
hear
one,
that?
Ashley? Okay. All right. I'll disable that one. Good point.
I'm going to disable you.
Can you do Roy also, just to see if that needs to be disabled? It probably does. I got that one already.
Did you?
Actually.
Don't
My
make
name
me
is
start
Roy.
hitting my buttons over here and play my sound effects.
All right. Want to,
I got rim shots. I
Disable.
got sad trombones.
and then
I got M. Bison, of course.
You got the Rant Master.
Okay.
Oh, I
Now-
got Rant Master, but I'm not using Rant
now
Master
try
tonight,
them,
sir.
Ashley. Or Paul. Okay, there you go. Roy's not working. Guess it's good for you that I just had to. Yes, it is very good for me. I agree. All right, those aren't working. Thank you for testing those. All right.
Testing.
Do either of you have a hard stop time tonight, Babo or Nathan?
Not really.
As long as it's a reasonable time.
Reasonable, like less than the length of this movie.
less than 4 hours.
Okay, we can do that. Do you?
I was thinking 4 years.
Wow. Do you all have 2 likes, a classic maker, 2 dislikes, a tragic maker?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me put on some chapstick for myself. I think I put on a little too much. All right, that's one way to go. Windows fan close. Yeah. Oh, dang it. Okay. Baba, do you have a spiritual speculation for tonight?
Not at the moment, no.
Oops, my bad.
Oh my goodness.
Ah.
All right. Okay, so now we're gonna record 5
It's okay, Bobo. I didn't
seconds
either.
of silence. Don't mute yourselves. Just leave your mics hot and on so that I can record your floor noise. So we're gonna start that now.
See, now what we have here is a failure to communicate.
Don't intentionally make noise, Nathan. Just let it be. All right. Oh my gosh, you guys! Just...
Oh.
All right, now we're gonna start. All right, thank you.
Okay, Power Rangers, let's do it.
Okay, goodness gracious. All right, 5 seconds. All right, then I think if you guys are all ready, we are good to start the actual show. Thumbs up if you're ready to start the podcast.
Yeah, close enough.
Let's see. 23. Hey, Nathan and Bobo says Rushmore. Tasteful thickness. Is this the one where Robin Williams dresses up as a lady? No, that is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Doubtfire.
Why am I hearing myself all of a sudden?
Because if you didn't, I would be concerned.
That's weird. Okay, well, never mind. Are you talking about Clueless that you saw, Ashley? Anyway, okay, we're going to start now, guys. Chat, thank you, everyone, for being here. Ashley, Paul, Rushmore, Tasteful Thickness, Monster Island Film Vault, Who Will Save Generation X podcast, Rushmore Andy, Bobo, of course. Appreciate you guys all. We will get going here.
Psych.
Wow. All right, so I guess I start. We'll start in 5, 4. Actually, let me get my old man voice. 5, 4, 3. That wouldn't be a radio in your lap, would it, Mr. Pitts?
No, sir. We call it Mr. Radar, so we can detect.
I'm sorry I blew that take.
No, it's fine.
Go
It's not
again.
this. It's not this
Leave it in.
right line
You have to
anyway.
leave it
It's
in
the wrong
now.
movie.
You killed him. I don't know how, but you killed him.
All right. Sorry. Let me go back. We're not recovering Spaceballs, right?
No.
All right. Ready. That was a pretty good take you had. So if
Yeah,
you
I'm
wanna
not going to
copy
redo
and
mine.
paste-
You just do yours, please.
Okay. No, sir. Science experiment. Radar. So we can detect episode 328 of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro systems online. Reflux capacitor fluxing. Scanning movie space-time for Dead Poets Society, 1989. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod. Yes, captain, your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the XO, PaulJPowers.com Powers. Hey, Paul.
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Yes.
Do we all have to stand up now? That's going to be a little awkward.
Yes, every time you address me as captain, you must stand up. No, not at all. But also for this discussion of the film, Dead Poets Society, we welcome back aboard Chief Historian of the pod, David Bobo Bobke. Hey, Bobo.
Oh, Captain, my captain. I broke my desk when I was standing on it earlier.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
Oh,
Well-
I thought it was aerodynamic.
Oh, my goodness. But, Bobo, this is actually your 10th time, if I'm kind right, on the podcast.
What?
Do you know what that means?
Means I get into the executive dining room?
You do, yes.
Wow.
You are now an officer of the pod, historian officer. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Double the pay and double the responsibility.
Exactly. How can you lose?
How can you double 0?
Hey,
0 times 0 is still 0, but now you have more to do.
So the 0 is actually his pay. Got it.
Yes.
Yes. In addition, who you're hearing now, to Baba, we have back aboard archive shipman Nathan Marchand. Hey, Nathan.
It is so great to be back here, Captain Roy. I love it.
My name ain't Roy.
Now that we have that out of the way, and now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Dead Poets Society?
Sure thing. All right. The Princess Bride was released September 18th, 1987, and is rated PG, runs an hour and 38 minutes, and it was directed by Rob Reiner,
Okay. Yeah.
written by William Goldman, starring Carrie Ellis, Robin
Wright.
Williams, and
Robin
Mandy
Williams?
Patinkin.
Robin Wright is in Princess Bride.
Yes.
said
Did I say
Robin
Robin Williams?
Yeah. What movie are you thinking
Sorry.
of?
This is the
Oh,
Princess
we all
Bride,
know what
right?
movie he's talking about.
This is Princess Bride,
yeah,
right?
I think that's what we're gonna do. So, all right. So now
right.
they have a quick flyby of who. No, Paul. As
Yes?
much as I'd love to be covering the Princess Bride right now, we are actually covering Dead
Haven't you guys
Poets
already
Society.
covered it?
No,
No,
we have not.
it's on our do
Oh.
not
Name
cover
ain't Roy.
list. That's why I'm surprised we're covering it.
We're doing the one
One
about
of
the
those.
poets, right? We're doing Poetic Justice from 1993, rated R, directed by John Singleton.
Oh,
I thought we were talking about dead presidents.
no. See, I thought we
That was
were
mine.
talking about the Dread Pirate Society.
Oh my gosh, Paul. Dead Poets Society, please.
Oh,
Dead
that's
Pool
the one with Robin
Society?
Williams, right? Robin Williams?
Yes, with Robin
All right.
Williams.
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
To all three of us. Let's go back. All right. The Dead Poet Society was released June 9th, 1989. Runs 2 hours and 8
Wait.
minutes.
It's not the Dead Poets Society. It's just Dead Poets Society.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
As one, thank you for keeping me straight on that. All right. Rated PG, directed by Peter Wire. I don't know. Written by Tom Schulman, with lead stars being Robin Wright, Robin Williams, Robert Sean Leonard, and Ethan Hawke, and a few others you may or may not recognize, like Swell's boyfriend from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Anyway,
Oh,
Are we sure
was that,
PaulJPowers.com isn't less Dixie?
was that the guy that was sort of infatuated with the girl?
yeah, with Chris,
I was
the
like,
girl.
why
Yes.
do I know him? He looks so familiar.
We covered him on the last episode.
It just can't get away from him, apparently.
It's also funny that we have like a before and after with Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead Poet Society with these 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Anyway, please continue, Paul.
All right, let's get on with
Wow.
the music. The music
Really?
composed by Maurice Jarre. And you ready for the box office trivia?
Yes. Bobo and Nathan, are you guys ready?
Bring it.
I'm prepared.
Awesome. Anyone live in chat here? Ashley, Tasteful Thickness, Rushmore Show, Who Will Save Generation X? Any of you are welcome to join as well. Go for it, Paul.
You're not supposed to come prepared to this. That's cheating. But anyway, Dead Poet Society was made for about $16 million and earned around $240 million
Jeez.
at the box office.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So given this fact,
Bank.
how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1989? We'll go for the top 50.
Top 50. All right. Bobo, what is your guess?
I will go number 5.
Number 5. Nathan.
7.
7. Let's see. Rushmore says, let's go. That's not a number. Who Will Save Generation X says 69.
Dude.
Which is not in the top 50, but I appreciate that. Yes.
I was to say, you fail at math. You're getting
Oh.
kicked out of this proprietary school.
Proprietary school?
Because this movie takes place at a proprietary school.
No, it's not. It's not called a
They
proprietary.
call it proprietarial school.
That can't be
Some
right.
people do.
School right now?
It's something parochial. No, it's not parochial. That's like a Catholic
The
school.
proverbial.
Whatever. Maybe it is
Proverbial school. Can we all have proverbial schools?
Sure.
Renowned school.
Who? Let's see. Tasteful Thickness guesses 5. Rushmore. Kirk also guesses 5. Oh, 35 from Tasteful Thickness. Ashley guesses 8. I think for me, I'm gonna guess 49.
All right.
So because I mean, part of me wants to throw my lot in with Who Will Save Generation X, but I want at least a chance of winning this. So
I'm trying
Paul,
to remember what else came out in 1989. That would
so
give us
much.
a whole
A whole bunch.
competition.
Batman, Ghostbusters 2,
That's
Last
true.
Crusade. So many
UHF.
bangers. UHF. All right, so Paul, where did it actually fall in the top 50?
Well, Cheater McCheaterson prepared ahead of time, so he's correct. It came in at number 5, according to the-numbers.com. So, well, good job, Bobo.
Good job, Bobo, as well as Rushmore Show. He also guessed 5. So
Wow.
good job, guys. All righty. Well, thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we will get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert. Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
From Touchstone Pictures. John Keating wasn't your average English teacher.
I like Byron. I give him a 42, but I can't dance to him.
To the administration, he was a rebel.
I'm hearing rumors about some unorthodox teaching methods.
To parents, he was a threat.
Who put you up to it? Was it this Mr. Keating?
But to his students, he was an inspiration.
Seize the day. I'm gonna do it!
That made their lives extraordinary. Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society, rated PG.
Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspaper for showtimes.
And we will go ahead. That's a good time for a Edna mode, just because we're in between sections. Thank you so much for the raid, Geek Devotions. Welcome all you Devo geeks who came over. Hopefully the live podcast recording you guys did went well and all the questions. I'm very curious to find out how you guys answered Paul's Millennium question. But welcome. We're in the middle of covering Dead Poets Society. Hello, I am not the Bee, Cellcast, Lesty, Geek Devotions. Glad you guys are here. Can't wait till
Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
So glad to have you for as long as you can stay.
Thank you for the follow. I'm not the Bee. Okay, so we just played the trailer as you guys were coming in for Dead Poets Society, or the TV spot. So now we're going to get back into the actual episode. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, that commercial probably brings back some memories about Dead Poets Society, but what did we collectively remember about this film? Let's go to our memory, mind, and mouth synopsis for Dead Poets Society. A young guy with creative aspirations is taken to a strict all-boys boarding school by the 70s show dad to whip him into shape and be a normal person. But the Good Morning Vietnam guy arrives to be the new English teacher. Mork from Ork teaches them some far-out things, like to carp that diem as they throw out textbooks to study poetry and woo women. The boys start a secret club in the woods and grow more confident and happy, but this brings them into conflict with their parents and peers. One boy tragically commits suicide after the 70s dad berates him for pursuing creative endeavors. This now dead poet is traced back to the Dead Poets Society Club, which is shut down by the school. Popeye, despite this student's protest, is fired. But by the way, apparently spoiling this all for you, Lesty. But when he says goodbye, the boys stand on chairs and recite, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," in solidarity. I mean, there was certainly a lot of that did happen, but
they were not in solidarity.
So we were definitely decepted. But as flawed,
also there were no fish. It's carpe, not carp.
Yeah, exactly.
Seize the fish.
How many of us know Latin?
Yeah, right. Jeez, there's no Latin here.
I
Based
took
on those
2 years of
memories,
it. I don't know.
as flawed.
What are you talking about?
Been,
Half our language is Latin, but anyway.
As flawed as they may have been, what rating did they lead you to predict for the film before your rewatch? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Baba, what was your prediction for Dead Poets Society?
I had seen it once before, and I remembered liking it.
When was that? When did you see it first?
I think I saw it in my college years.
Okay.
I think I just had it on VHS and decided to watch it one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered liking it quite a bit, but heard it talked down a little bit over the years, so I decided to go with nostalgic.
All
Temper
right.
my expectations.
That's fair. Nathan, how about you? What was your
Classic.
prediction?
It's one of my favorite Robin Williams movies.
Okay, classic. Paul, what was your prediction?
I saw it. I could have saw it in theaters. I honestly don't remember.
Real quick, Nathan,
I do remember seeing it.
Sorry, Paul, to cut you off. When did you first see it, Nathan? I'm sorry.
In college.
In college.
All
Okay.
right.
Paul, please continue. I'm sorry about that.
Interrupting the interrupter.
That's right.
Wow.
Interruptus Maximus Plus.
.com. Which is forward to pauljpowers.com, who thinks he may have saw it when it came out, possibly. If not, definitely remember seeing it in college. I have
pauljpowers.com was referring to himself in third person. This disturbs Nate.
Which is a side comment in the third person. But that was like 25 years ago when I And it may have been that long since I've last seen it because I just remember it being so heartbreaking. But I know it was well done, and I thought it was classic then, so much that when it came out, I bought it, the digital version, and hoping one day thinking I'll watch it again because I enjoyed it so much. But having recently rewatched it before I did that for this podcast, I predicted a classic.
Okay. Awesome. Quick Edna mode. We're not going to redo anything. I think it'll be fine. But I had you guys turned up on my track, so there was some echo. So hopefully it'll be okay. We'll just see how it goes. But the audio may be a little different. I fixed it now, so for the rest of the show we should be fine. And Who Will Save Generation X? Thank you for saying something. Let me know if you're still hearing echo from either the guest or Paul. But
You wanted them to say something?
Sure.
Want to hear echo?
Yeah, Bobo, talk about your least favorite Robin Williams movie, unless it's this one.
My least favorite Robin Williams movie, I want to say, is RV, but I've never seen it.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Nathan, how about you? Your least favorite Robin Williams movie?
Least favorite. Okay. Least favorite?
Death to Smoochie.
That's actually one I have not seen, but yeah, it's not very well liked. Although I have seen RV, was not a big fan of it.
Okay.
So
So
I guess I'll go with that one.
everyone's
If I
saying-
had seen Death to Smoochie, it probably would be that.
Everyone's saying the echo's gone now. Thank you guys so much. So we will.
Oh, Toys was bad. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That one I
Good one,
haven't
Dale.
seen either.
Yeah, that one's wrong.
All right,
yet,
enough.
anyway.
That was just to test. Thank you guys.
No, we're having fun.
They're into that movie.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Where were we? I predicted classic.
Yeah, I don't. Can you restart that, Paul? Your prediction. Like, where did you see it? All that. Just retake that, as if I
Good.
just asked you.
I may have seen it in the theaters. I don't recall, but I definitely saw it 25 years ago in college, and haven't really seen it since because it is heartbreaking. But I thought it was so well done at that time that before I rewatched it for this podcast, I predicted classic.
Classic. Okay. For me, I had never seen it before. I had no interest in seeing it. So, but I'm like, I know a lot of people enjoy it, but to lower my expectations so it had the highest chance of rising above them, I predicted tragic. So it'll be interesting to see how those predictions pan out. But first, let's get into the things we liked about Dead Poets Society. Alice, cue that up for us.
Best bits.
The best bits of Dead Poets Society. And let's start with Bobo. What is one thing you liked about this film?
One thing I liked about this film, I'm going to start off with many of the quotes from the classroom in particular. Now, I got my degree in English, so you can imagine that I rather enjoy Keating as a character, but when he talks about you will learn to savor words and language, that's something very important to me, and why I like George Carlin, despite his language that he liked to share in his stand-up. He talked about how very important language is to us as humans, and expressing ourselves is only as good as our language. So that was one. The powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. Makes things feel very important to us, and to young minds, 17-year-olds need to hear something like that. Like, you can do something great with yourself, and that's a very poetic way to put it. We must consistently look at things in a different way is very important to me. If you know me at all, I don't need to explain that any further. So, yeah, several
But our
of those
listeners may not know you at all, so why didn't you explain it further?
He was about
One
to.
word: mad balls.
Yeah, Madball's just a minor point if you want to listen to that episode of the Cellcast. But
I thought you were talking. I thought you meant Mad Libs because it was that's word based game.
Yeah, I'm a walking Mad Lib, basically.
Oh, nice.
So, but
It sounds like he's a little dangerous to have on a podcast.
Yeah, well, harbinger of podcasting chaos.
I was
What
just
can
about to say.
Yes, you may start addressing me as that anytime now. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Oh my gosh.
Now that you've moved up in rank.
Sure.
I think it's going to his head.
You
That's right,
filed the
it's
paperwork. Just file the paperwork for a change in your station to Harbinger of Podcasting Chaos Station.
Mr. Harbinger of
I'm
Podcasting
sorry,
Chaos.
Mr. Okay.
Oh, that's right. That's Mr. Harbinger of Podcasting Chaos to you, Roy.
Name's not Roy. But I am curious, Nathan. Were you done, Bobo?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Nathan. What's one thing that you liked? Was it the words, the use of the language, or something else?
What Bobo brought up is also incredibly important to me because as not only am I a podcaster, I am also a writer, and I also have a degree in English. In fact, I have two. Well, one's English, one's writing. But
That sounds more like math. But go ahead.
The math, really.
1 and 2 and numbers.
Numbers are language too, sir. But I had something similar, actually. He didn't quite go where I thought he was going because another key aspect of Mr. Keating's teaching, one that I think is grossly needed even more now, and that is the idea of free thinking. Because he's telling them, I need you to not conform. I need you to come to your own conclusions about things because that's important. And simply conforming is not life-giving. That is his whole deal. He is doing everything he can to give these boys generative lives, as one of my professors would say. And one of my favorite lines is he says, all of these other pursuits, law, medicine, all that, they are great pursuits, they're important pursuits so that we can stay alive. But poetry and the arts, that's what we stay alive for. That's why we need this. But he wanted to make sure that they're thinking for themselves, and that is one of the central conflicts in this movie because all of these boys have all of these other characters, mostly adults, to be honest, who are constantly pressuring them to conform in one way or another. So he's the one adult who's saying, don't be that way. Push against it. Don't just repeat what you're being told. And in this age of the internet, it's so crazy to feel like we've gone from encouraging people to be unique to forcing them to conform anymore. And so this is a message that is greatly needed, and I know a little bit because I have actually taught in the classroom when I was getting my master's degree. I worked as a part-time instructor, and you would be surprised how many of these freshmen, I was mostly teaching freshmen, I tell them, I'm giving you the freedom to write about what you want. It was for a freshman composition class. They would flip the heck out. And they're like, just tell me what to write about. I was like, no, you figure it out. I want to know what you care about.
It's one of the free thinking was actually going to be one of my dislikes because there was such an emphasis. But then in the middle of the movie, it talked about how that goes too far and that it actually does.
Yes, that is something that I appreciated.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's some tempering that goes on. The boys, they act out doing their free-spirited, free thinking and all that. And then he has to tell us, you need to cool it a little bit and exercise a little bit of wisdom.
Right.
Yeah, was it sucking the marrow out of life, but don't choke on it?
Oh,
yeah, don't choke on the bone.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like that was a little oh, now I'm in trouble, so let me make sure you guys don't get me in trouble. That's how it felt to me. But we're not in a dislike section, so
I was about to say that.
Or maybe you're just
wrong
cynical.
in that either.
That's true, Paul. That's a good point. What'd you say, Nathan?
I said maybe you're just cynical.
No, I'm a realist.
Oh,
I'm trying really hard not to say what I said out loud when that came up during the movie because
Okay, all right.
I said words.
Oh,
that would require either an explicit label or some post-production censorship.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Paul, why don't you produce for us some words of what you liked about this movie?
And I'll go on the same train of Mr. Keating in the classroom, and one of the things that I appreciated was the humor he brought. And I'm not talking about the Robin Williams being Robin Williams, like when he's doing the poetry in different voices and the kids are all laughing at him. But there were other moments throughout the film where he still brought a sense of humor to it, which this type of film really benefits from, because it does deal with some heavy stuff. And I think having humor sprinkled here and there, the way it has, really helps elevate it.
Okay.
Now, which one was your favorite? Which moment of humor?
I don't have one that stands out necessarily.
I honestly didn't find him that funny in this. I mean, even though when he is doing the "Okay, Pilgrim" and all.
Yeah, that's what I.
impressions,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
wasn't-
I'm not talking about that.
I
part,
understand.
But
I'm
he
just
still
saying,
brought a lightheartedness and some.
Yeah, I could see that. I could certainly experience some.
Like in his very first day in the classroom, where he just walks through the classroom and then walks out the door, and he's like, "Well, come on."
Yeah, I enjoyed his whimsy, I guess I'll say, but he didn't come across funny at all to me. But okay, that's something you liked, Paul. Something I liked that's, I guess, similar to what you were saying, Nathan, about nonconformity, but not in the way you probably think, is I liked that at the end, not all the students got up on their desk. It wasn't like they were all like for him. It's like
that
only
surprised me. But yeah, continue, and I'll add a comment to that. Yeah,
because it showed that because you're never going to win everyone. You're never going to win everyone's hearts and minds. And I like that he touched some kids. Others probably didn't care about what he was doing and didn't think it was all that big of a deal. They just wanted to get through the class and move on. And so I like that dichotomy of some people, we're really like, we're willing to be in solidarity for him, for what he did. Others were like, for whatever reason, didn't feel that way. So I just like that. It wasn't like, oh, clearly the headmaster guy is the bad guy, so we all have to stand up to him because we're all good kids. I think it was nice.
We're all bad kids going against the establishment.
Yeah, I like that there was some gray that was like,
it made it more realistic. But and one of the things I was surprised is like the Cat in the Hat guy. And what I mean is the kid that stood up, he was like the jock that stood up and gave his poem as like very simple. I forget what he said. The cat was in the hall. And he was tall and he sat down or something like that. But even he stood up and on his desk, which I was surprised to see, because Mr. Keating, even said like, look, you didn't put a lot of thought into it, but there is room for simple stuff in poetry. So it's nice to see, like, even because anyway, I was surprised that he stood up with them because I wasn't expecting that, but it made it more realistic to me. I was surprised who stood up and who didn't, which is very much like real life.
Exactly. Let's see, what was something surprising that you liked, Bob? Or maybe it wasn't a surprise you liked it, but it is something that you enjoyed.
Very much not a surprise for my next like, and that is several of the performances from actors in this movie. Robin Williams is my all-time favorite performer overall.
Wow.
Oh wow!
I just love Robin. I wish he was still with us.
Yeah.
Another one who's up there is Kurtwood Smith, who played Neil's dad.
Yes.
I could put him in the likes and in the dislikes
Yeah.
because I hated his character virtually every time he opened his mouth.
Yeah.
But he did such a good job making me hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet he's and Kurtwood Smith really I listened to an interview recently that he did talking about this movie, and he talks about how his character really does love his son.
Yeah.
But he had an upbringing such that he didn't really know how to display that properly. He knew he wanted to give his son some advantages that he didn't have growing up, but he didn't necessarily know how to connect with him correctly.
Yeah.
And that obviously becomes a problem. It's a problem throughout the movie. But Kurtwood Smith does such a good job in those fatherly authoritarian roles.
Yeah.
And so he's great. Robin's great. Several of the kids I thought were really great too.
We had a young Ethan Hawke in this movie.
Yep.
Second
Yep.
film.
I might bring him up
that's
again
the
later.
other quote unquote big name in this, although he wasn't a big name at the time.
He was in Explorers. That was
That was big enough to put him in there.
So Nathan, going to you next. Can you give us a poem, please, for on the spot? And
On the spot.
The poem needs to be about you guessing on the Retro Rewind podcast. Go.
And you have to spin around while doing it.
Well, that's gonna be a little hard when I'm sitting. I can't.
And Bobo, you're going to be coming up too, so be thinking of one.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, Bobo, go.
There was a man from Nantucket.
I was going to quote Iron Butterfly because it's on my shirt today.
Oh, well, there
you got. I got a DeVita baby.
Yeah, there you go. There
These
you
have
go. If I
nothing to
had
do with
known,
being on
I
the
would have
show,
actually
guys.
grabbed a book of poetry before coming on here. But
Sorry,
anyway.
Who Saved Generation X? I tried. Okay, let's go to Nathan next for real. What's something else you liked about this?
Yeah, for real. Well, I was going to bring up the performances, specifically Robin Williams, but because I don't want to steal a like from Bobo because he might murder me in my sleep. I don't know. He looks like a serial killer, but
Well, he's a serious killer.
And by serial killer, I mean like the breakfast variety.
Oh, of course.
Mean, he smashes Cheerios every morning. You like Cheerios feared this man. But anyway, no. Where's
Chaos recognizes
No,
chaos.
whoa! That was the wrong button. What was that? There we go. I got
There
a
you
rim shot there. Yeah.
A like on this movie, Nathan. Go.
Yeah. I'm going to say the line "Carpe Diem." It's the backbone, and I would say the thematic statement of this movie. So Carpe Diem, seize the day, and it was named one of the 100 best movie lines by AFI.
Oh wow! But I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. We're in the like section, not the dislike section.
I think you're a little confused here, sir.
Interesting. All right, so you like that line. Paul, what's something you liked? What did you really want to seize from this movie because you liked it so much?
I love the phrase carpe diem. It's very motivational. But something that I really enjoy, I'm gonna say, is the production design. Just the settings that this took place, the school area, it felt very authentic.
It looked like it was a location. Did they actually build all that?
No, but that's what I mean. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like it was in a studio.
Okay.
And they had several like nature shots, like the geese
cinematography
flying,
is gorgeous,
right? Or running through the forest at night. They just had some really good locations, and it just felt real and authentic. It helped really ground the film and take you there.
Absolutely. One thing that I thought was interesting to that point was the scene where Ethan Hawke is outside in the snow, sort of after the incident happens. That wasn't going to be filmed inside, but then the director saw that it was snowing out, and he thought it just would feel so much better to be out in the snow with these characters. So Ethan Hawke had like one take to do it because the snow was starting to melt. So it's just cool that he had the presence of mind to like look for these beautiful shots. So I agree with you there, Paul.
Yeah, Paul, I just looked it up, and they filmed this at several places.
Nice.
Interesting.
Several places. They scouted more than 70 universities and private schools.
Wow.
And then decided it would take place at St. Andrew's School and the Everett Theater in Middletown, Delaware, as well as locations in Newcastle, Delaware, and at Wilmington, Delaware. And the classroom scenes were filmed in a replica classroom built on a soundstage in Wilmington.
Oh,
all right.
Cool. The more you know. And I want to let you know about my last like before we get to our classic makers. And that's this movie. It's interesting because I feel like the movie is there's poetry is a big part of this movie. That's sort of what Robin Williams' character Keen is teaching. And I feel like this movie in of itself is a poem in that there's lots of things to reflect on. Unfortunately, I was interested to see a movie, not a poem. But kudos to it for being like a poem.
Wait, are you saying this is not a movie? Like you claim Monty Python and the Holy Grail is
So
not a movie?
let's get to our classic makers, guys.
Okay.
Let's start with Paul.
I hit a nerve on that one. Oh, sure. I'll go with my classic maker is what you guys, some of you already talked about, and that's the cast. The best part about this film for me is the cast.
Oh yeah.
They really did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams, and of course Ethan Hawke has already been mentioned. But the one person that I think that did the best was Robert Sean Leonard, who played Neil Perry, the troubled kid. He was so believable to me. I mean, he took me there in almost every scene, and I think it's tragic that we don't know his name as much as we do Robin Williams and Ethan Hawke, and that's partly because he hasn't done as much as those others.
Well, he
which I
did
think is sad because
MD, but I don't
do
know
what?
if you ever House MD. Did you ever see that TV show on Fox?
No, but he's done some other things, like I said, but I think it's sad that the world doesn't know his name like as much as they should, especially in this performance.
Gotcha. Well, Dale agrees with you. His classic maker is Robert Sean Leonard. Also, his character's journey and the performance. Yeah. Ashley also thought he has a great character. Awesome, guys. Let's go to Nathan. What was your classic maker for this film?
It's actually something that has already been discussed, but I'm going to claim it anyway. And that is the "Oh Captain, My Captain" scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It is such a powerful culmination of not only what some of the stuff we've seen outside of the classroom, but it's definitely a culmination of what we have seen in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
With him having the kids stand on his desk to get a new perspective on things, and saying, "You can call me Mr. Keating," or if you're really brave, "Oh Captain, my Captain." Like all of these things come together. The talk about nonconformity and free thinking. That's why the first kid stood up in the first place. And then I do agree with you guys. The fact that not all the kids do it, and the fact that some of them have to think about it for a good minute, before they stand up, is absolutely fantastic. Because if we wanted to make the Hallmark Channel version of this movie, it's all the kids stand up to the headmaster, who's unequivocally villainous. I won't say evil, but villainous. And they get Mr. Keating declared innocent, or there's none of that.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yep.
He still gets fired. He still loses his job. Probably ends up having his reputation damaged.
Yeah. But
the students whose lives he truly touched did what they needed to do. As far as we know, his life was ruined after this, but he had students who stood up for him, and those kids, I guarantee you, they grew up and they were
changed for the better.
Yeah, they were changed for the better for this. And that, I think, is what makes this really important, because the easy resolution is to fix everything. The deeper resolution, which may have to be at least one of our spiritual speculations afterward, who knows, is that internal thing that requires you to do the brave thing. I'm going to stand up to the headmaster. I am going to take a stand for what I know is right, and my teacher is innocent. So I love that scene.
Yeah, awesome. Very,
very it's very iconic. It's what this film is remembered for. So
yeah. For me, the thing. Go ahead. I was gonna go with my classic maker, but if you have more to add, please do, Bob.
I was gonna say that wasn't my classic maker, but talking about epiphanies, my classic maker actually was kind of an epiphany moment.
Oh wow!
That I didn't remember this scene from the first time I saw it, but when they have the class where they're all supposed to bring in a poem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Todd's turn, and we know he's nervous about speaking in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he didn't bring a poem. And Keating doesn't let him off the hook. He's like, all right, well, come on up here. See a picture of Walt Whitman. Says, you look at Uncle Walt up there. What does it remind you of? And he starts leading Todd down this sort of mental gymnastics of like, okay, I see a madman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what kind of madman? And he just keeps building off of that, and he ends up kind of creating his own poetry.
Yeah.
That he didn't know he had in him.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that great moment where even Keating's sitting there just kind of looking at what his students doing in front of him, not just coming up with a poem, but he's finding a new dimension of himself.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he's opening up at that point. He's become his psychologist a little bit there, because he started off by saying, like, if you're thinking that your poem is terrible and you don't want to share it, you're saying that what you have inside of you is unimportant. He identified this kid's main issue and challenged him to confront that.
Yeah, and there's that moment where he said something and some of his classmates laughed, and Keating says, like, don't listen to them, don't listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps him focused, and you see a little epiphany there, and then toward the end of the movie, he's the student who stands on his desk first and says, "Oh, Captain, my captain."
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's this world of black and white and maybe gray that this school wants these kids to live in. And Keating says, "Well, let's make color."
Yeah.
And it turns out tragically with Neil, with the way those colors get mixed with his family life. But for somebody like Todd, it's changed his life, clearly. And we don't know exactly the long-term ramifications for him, but it's
I was going to say, yeah, we don't know the long-term ramifications, do we?
I like to assume the best, sir.
Something that is funny, and I think in the spirit of assuming the best, Who Shaved Generation X podcast says, Dead Poets Society is set in 1959, so Mr. Keane might have ended up doing radio in Vietnam.
Yeah. And then Dale adds, and then serving in a hospital with the red nose, irritating Bob.
And then he ultimately becomes a bicentennial man.
And drives an RV.
and at one point may have taken up residence in a lamp.
Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway.
I'm gonna watch that again. Anyway.
That leaves...
That's pretty good for a boy born in Never Neverland.
Wow. That leaves...
Look at the poetry we're creating here.
Yeah.
Can I get to my classic maker, guys?
Oh, Captain, my captain, yes. Go ahead.
It was almost the Riddler, too, but anyway.
With two harbingers of chaos, I don't know if you're going to get there, Francis.
I'm surprised that you guys didn't pick up on this beautiful moment. It's probably the best thing in this film. That there's this one teacher, and we were having this back and forth a little bit earlier, the whole cynics versus realists. So you remember that I forget the character's name, but there's this other teacher that teaches the Latin, and him and
his
Mr.
friend
Keating are, well, I didn't think they were friends at first, but you see this
colleagues,
yeah, they're colleagues, and then you see something like turning in this other teacher, where he sees what Keating's doing for his students, and by the end, this teacher is taking a walk with his students outside in the snow, doing the Latin as if to, and then he looks up at Keating and they do these nods to each other as if to say,
he waves.
They wave, yeah, okay, as if to say, like, I appreciate how you're thinking outside the box with how you're teaching. I want to try and adopt some of these methods because maybe it's going to make teaching more interesting and more engaging. So I loved that. That is his legacy, how he taught and how he influenced the other teachers that were willing to listen and maybe not do it to the extent he did it, but still try things that would be more conducive for learning for the kids there. So that was my classic maker. All right, guys. So
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think so too. And in fact, it's the best one. I mean, I think we can all agree I have the best classic maker. But there's probably some things that we didn't like about this film. So let's get into... wait a second. No. surprise, surprise, there is something else I liked that I wanted to mention, and that would be the Monster Island Film Vault. Hey, kaiju lovers, looking for a podcast that's a fun listen and takes big monsters seriously? Then check out the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. Host/film curator Nathan Marchand and his rotating roster of guest hosts take academic yet fun deep dives into this wide world of giant monster films and TV, discussing their artistic merits, or lack thereof, and their historical and cultural context, giving you a greater appreciation for an underappreciated genre. You'll hear about Godzilla, King Kong, Gamera, and more, while also gaining a crash course in toku topics, ranging from history to sociology to science. Along the way, you'll hear audio dramas segments chronicling Nate's many misadventures on Monster Island, with a colorful cast of characters like his intrepid producer Jimmy from NASA. So pay a visit to the Monster Island Film Vault at monsterislandfilmvault.com.
That's great, Francisco. I've been on Monster Island Film Vault myself back in the day. But what does that have to do with Dead Poets Society?
Absolutely nothing. Which is what Godzilla thinks of this movie because he pancake smashes it. No, I don't.
That's some creative writing there, Francisco.
I took a class.
I'm not sure there was any writing involved, sir.
It's auditory. Hey, if people can listen to audiobooks and claim it's reading, then me talking can be claimed as writing. So there you go.
Oh, so much rage.
All right, but it didn't really have anything to do with Dead Poets Society, Paul. So.
Yeah, Gamera, like as in Guardians of the Galaxy.
How about
that's Gamora?
How about some whatever? How about some trivia about Dead Poets Society, guys?
Yeah.
That's good for you, Paul?
Sure.
Okay. Did you all realize director Peter Weir, I'm not sure how to say it either, gave his young actors playing the students books that detailed what kids saw at the movies, listened to on the radio, and so on, a snapshot of life for teenagers in the 50s. So with that in mind, what are the movies, books, or music your parents enjoyed when they were young? If you know. If you don't know, that's okay.
I know because I heard a bunch of it growing up.
All right. So Nathan?
And it probably instilled a bit of appreciation for the classics in me.
Okay. So what would they be? What's one or two?
I didn't know if you want to be actually going
go for it.
But just to point out how diametrically different my parents are, and this is one of my favorite things to bring. I was like, I don't know how my parents got together and produced me and the rest of the family, because
you see,
my mother's
likes a girl.
There were barriers to entry, sir. I'm just saying. Anyway, my mother's favorite band is specifically disco era Bee Gees, because she was into disco music as a wee lass. And my dad's favorite band is Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Okay.
And I'm like, how did you two get along? Because those are very different. Because for those of you who may have not heard Creedence Clearwater Revival, the only way I can think to describe them is that they're like Southern rock, bordering on country or folk music.
They see a Bad Moon Rising, right?
Yeah, Bad Moon Rising, Up Around the Bend, Born on the Bayou.
So they both had top 40 hits. I see what connects them, sure.
Yeah, I was just saying that was interesting. That was interesting to me. Although I will admit, I am more partial to 80s music because those two bands were more 70s.
Yeah.
But I did hear oldies and such growing up, things like the Beatles and the Beach Boys and things like that. But I'm more partial to 80s music.
Okay. Very nice. How about you, Baba? What did your parents listen to or read or watch?
Yeah, I actually had to call my mom and ask because I got the question about this about 2 minutes after I departed from seeing her.
No. I don't. I ask you guys these on the spot. I do not preempt or give you
He's
guys
taking you
a
by
heads
the
up.
face and spinning you around and asking you on the spot.
Yes, I'm making poetry here.
Oh, okay.
I'm making poetry
I'm
here,
sorry.
and he's stepping all over.
I'm so sorry, Bob.
Oh,
Like
Captain.
Godzilla.
Exactly.
So anyway, in plain English, yeah. So my dad, I think I know he watched a lot of movies and TV shows growing up. So I know he was into Ernie Kovacs and Jackie Gleason and a lot of the classic stuff. Music wise, I think a lot of the classic oldies, stuff like Iron Butterfly and Don McLean, you know, American Pie.
Yeah.
And my mom,
yeah, I know that.
and my mom was very into Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Alice Cooper for a second.
No, that would be fascinating. I'm still. My mom turned up Snoop Dogg in the car once. I was so proud. Anyway, separate story. She said as far as movies growing up, though, she pretty much any movies that came on TV because she grew up in a small town in northern Wisconsin where they had no movie theaters close by.
Gotcha.
So it was whatever happened to come on.
Mm-hmm.
She was at least somewhat interested in. I mean, she wasn't interested in everything, but
Sure.
yeah, whatever was available, pretty much.
Nice. That's
my mom's favorite show as a kid was Lost in Space. She would watch it every Sunday. She said that was the one time her dad would let her eat in front of the TV was to watch Lost in Space. And a couple years ago, I was at a convention and they had the actress who played the oldest daughter on that show. She was there, and it was right before my mom's birthday, so I went and got an autograph from her and gave that to her for
You
her
did
birthday.
invite your mom to experience it for herself. But
I tried to get her to come, sir, but she couldn't make it. All right, I was a good son. How dare you impugn my good name?
Okay,
but and then, because she mentioned that, you know, they did a table reading for what would have been the series finale that they never got to make on the Blu-ray set. I tracked down the Blu-ray set and got that for my mom for her for Christmas. Right after.
Very sweet.
Because her birthday was in November, so nice. I tracked it down.
Paul, what Blu-ray set would you have gotten your parents because they liked it so much? Or answer the original question, whichever.
I'll answer the original question because my parents met in high school. They were high school sweethearts, and getting to know each other, one of them asked the other, so what's one of your favorite authors? And the other said, well, it's this obscure writer that hardly anyone's ever heard about. His name is Edgar Eger. And the other one is like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I love Edgar Eger.
Really? Oh wow.
And he wrote mostly like children's type of fantasy novels. It's similar to C.S. Lewis. He wrote Half Magic, and so that's one of the things that they connected on back then. So
nice.
I was wondering if you were telling the truth there for a hot second, but by the end, I'm like, okay, I believe it now.
Yeah, I need to work on my lying skills.
My BS sense was tingling for a second.
Yeah, no,
my goodness.
How about you, Francisco? Do you know?
I know my dad liked Motown. That was always on like oldies station, so I assume that's what he listened to growing up. I know I was trying to think of the name of the book. They turned it into a movie a while ago with Chris Pine and he has
Lord of the Rings.
No, it's
Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time. That's it. Yes, I never read it, but my mom always said she really liked it growing up.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
I read it in school.
You should read it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's trippy.
Okay.
It's a lot.
It's Madeline L'Engle. What did you expect?
Yeah, I was about to say that the movies don't really do it justice because they can't. That's how trippy it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. But and fact check true, Edgar Eger was a real author.
Yes,
I just found him.
Yeah,
lyricist, dramatist, and writer of children's fiction. That is what Wikipedia says. And if you can't trust Wikipedia, who can you trust?
PaulJPowers.com.
We can trust. Yeah, or PaulJPowers.com.
So great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, the Rad Rewinders, had about Dead Poets Society.
Alrighty. Drake Tungsten says, I haven't watched this in a long time, but I have recently recommended it to others. It's a very good discussion piece regardless if it holds up. For that reason, I'm going to vote classic.
Jeremy Shields says, Standing on Desks. Is that a real memory? I saw it once and I may have been too young to care.
All right. Kevin Joshua Burnham says, among Robin Williams' top 6 performances. And then he listed his 1, Good Will Hunting, 2, Mrs. Doubtfire, 3, Good Morning Vietnam, 4, Dead Poets Society, 5, Insomnia, 6, 1 Hour Photo.
Oh, Good Will Hunting. If you wanted to, if you want to see this character possibly, working
future,
at a university years later, that might be it.
Yeah, that's a good point. She's
Yeah.
a teacher there too.
I haven't seen. Oh, I haven't seen the 5th one of those, but all the other ones I will vouch for. All excellent performances.
James Felix says, so avoiding the word very because it's lazy. A man is not very tired. He is exhausted. Don't use very sad. Use morose. Language was invented for one reason, boys, to woo women. And in that endeavor, laziness will not do.
Oh, my. Wardale White says, funny at times, disturbing at others. Somewhat feels like Good Morning Vietnam, then later Patch Adams, but overall, a great movie.
Philip Hurt says, standing on desks is a safety violation and poor hygiene decision.
And Who Will Save Generation X podcast says, I remember thinking that for a movie that centers around the use of the English language, it sure did give some false advertising by naming it Dead Poets Society. Poets is plural, and only one poet died in the whole movie. I want my money back.
Wow.
Obviously, something to be very angry about this for Dead Poets Society from Who Saved Generation podcast. So that Who Will Save Generation X podcast, and that kicks us off into our dislike section. Alice?
Worst woes.
Missed it.
Yes, our worst woes of this. So let's start with Nathan. Why don't you kick us off with one thing you disliked about Dead Poets Society?
The Wolf of Wilhelm whale, I suppose.
Well, he said kick off, so just following Captain's orders.
Yeah, I get it. Roy is quite the tyrant, but
Roy.
Anyway, I will admit I had to work a little bit to get some of these dislikes.
Oh,
but
would you like some? I can lend you.
I get it. You're a wonderfully realistic cynic, but I did my due diligence, sir.
Thank you.
I will admit, and I think this is kind of the point, but it was still a little difficult to watch and listen to. Some of these boys' attempts at poetry, especially love poetry, is a little bit cringy.
You know, like Nwanda's poetry? Come on.
Oh, yeah, especially Nwanda. But I think that was the point.
Yeah.
They're new.
He's a ridiculously hormonal, free-spirited romantic.
Indeed.
A little too free-spirited, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I get the point of it. They're young. They don't know what they're doing. Let's be honest. Any of us who have attempted to write poetry, when we did it the first time, we sucked. We all sucked. Mm-hmm. We probably all still suck. But
speak for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can't be as cool as you, Roy Wanda. But, but yeah, so that was a little difficult at points. I think probably one of the more difficult ones was when the one kid crashed that one girl's class to read this kind of cliche love poem that he wrote. But then in the next scene, all of his friends are like, how did it go? And he's like, I did it.
That's all that mattered.
Mm-hmm. That's all that mattered. It was like, I did it. So I get the point. That's the point. It doesn't have to be great poetry. The fact that he even did this, that was the point.
Gotcha.
So I guess it's kind of a dislike wrapped in a like, but
Unacceptable. Find another
Fooled
one. No.
you. It was actually a like.
I am a free-spirited, free-thinking poet, sir. How dare you?
That doesn't belong on
I
this
will
very
stand on
structured
my-
military
I will
pod.
stand on my chair right now. For
Chief of the
Paul J.
boat,
Powers.
escort him off. Okay. Bobo, what's something you didn't like about Dead Poets Society?
There were 2 or 3. I actually have a list. Oh, Captain, my Captain. I have more than 3 things on
I
my
like
list.
what I'm hearing. Okay.
I'm still editing down exactly which ones I'm using. The first one, though, I'm going with is there were 2 or 3 sort of little movie trope things, I guess, that were in there that I didn't like, where they first learn about the Dead Poets Society, and toward the end of that scene, Neil says, Dead Poets Society. Like, did we need that? Did we need him? Just like having this epiphany moment where he's like, oh yeah, let's do. We didn't need the line. We didn't need the titular line there.
Yeah.
More though later on in the tragic scene where Neil's dad finds his son with the smoking gun, and there's that slow motion. No.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me immediately when I watched it, but after about 5 seconds, there was a voice in my head that said, was that really necessary? Because now every single time that is done, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It had more of an impact maybe back then.
Yeah.
And now it's just overdone.
I didn't notice it, but now that you bring it up, I can see that.
I think unfortunately I didn't put that in my notes, Bobo, but I did kind of have a bit of a similar reaction where I was thinking, it's like, anytime I see this down now, it's meant to be comedic, which I think just tells you the times in which we live.
Yeah. And similar for me, Bobo, to something that it's almost like you have to chalk it up to movie logic. I mean, I guess you could somehow headcanon it, but I thought it was silly that I forget his name, but the one guy that's smitten with the girl, she's like, but she has this boyfriend, the quarterback, and all the kids know who this guy is and that he's a jerk. It's like, how? You don't go to the same school. How do you know who this person is? I barely know the people in my own high school. How do you expect me to know the people in other people's high schools? So I'm sorry. I don't buy that they know that this quarterback is a jerk. So
too bad for you. You weren't popular in high school.
No, what does that have to do with knowing who the other people are in other high schools? Yeah, exactly. See, Bobo is so beside himself with how
did
good
he just
this
rage
was
quit
a
the
dislike
podcast?
was that he left. He's like, man, Francisco, you might as well drop the mic. You're so good at your dislikes. But that was one of my dislikes. I just thought that was really silly. Paul, what was a dislike you had?
Going on the movie magic, too much movie magic. I think the movie does a really good job the first time the boys sneak out, as like it's really elaborate. They have to be really quiet. And it's a big deal. They have to do a lot. Like they have to get these dog snacks, and kind of thing. But then, like movie magic does, they show that them doing this a whole bunch of times later, but they cut all that out.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are they doing it so often? Like they don't get caught. Where are they getting all those dog treats to sneak out that often?
Yeah.
It just doesn't. So it doesn't line up for me like that. At least that took me out of the film.
Yeah, I totally get that there. Let's see. Let's go to. Okay, so those are first dislikes. Let's go to our next set. I am going to say that for my next one. So his name is Knox, the guy that was liking. Girl.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's a little date rapey. I know it wasn't completely
it's
that.
Supposed to be. That's why he got hit.
But then he gets the girl.
They were
later.
also.
He was drinking.
I was gonna say they were also kind of inebriated, and he's hormonal and kind of stupid
and drunk, and so he's not making good decisions.
He's not making good decisions.
Let's give him credit. he kissed her forehead, not her lips. I think kissing the lips is a little far in this context.
If she was awake and cogent and he did that, great. But she wasn't. She was asleep, and he's not her boyfriend.
Dude, don't ever watch The Giant Claw from the 50s. We have two characters, a man and a woman. They're on an airplane. The woman's sleeping, and the dude just goes over and kisses her on the lips while she's sleeping, and she just wakes up and is like, "Oh, now you're doing it?"
Is she with someone else that he knows about?
Yeah, they knew each other for a short time.
Okay, but is she
but
with
she hadn't
someone
really
else?
indicated any
Doesn't
interest.
matter.
He just did it because he's a 50s man.
Yeah.
I feel like I give some leeway.
And this is set in
to
the
that.
50s, so I guess it was a thing.
I give some leeway to that if this woman on the plane or whatever was not with someone else, or this guy didn't know she was.
So
someone.
she was available.
Okay, so then yes,
but still, he's kissing her.
But she's
without
not
permission
inebriated,
while
she's
she is
just
sleeping.
Hey, Francisco,
Yes.
she's not exclusively with him. That's why she went out with him the next night or
yeah,
the
that's
night
a whole
after.
nother. That's a whole nother issue. I'm not going to get into, but I just.
Oh, because it nullifies your dislike. Okay, go on.
I just don't care for that whole.
Yeah, it was very. It was.
I hate
Yeah,
it.
but it makes sense in context. Dumb teenagers, underage drinking, hormones,
and you know what? This goes to. I mean,
and
this is
drama. Drama, sir.
Get ready, bingo cards. The disobedient teenagers.
Oh, here we go.
There we
Just
go.
all
All right,
over the
Rocker.
place here. Like you were saying, Paul, just going out to the cave where they're not supposed to. This guy doing things he shouldn't be doing with this girl. And then this girl is like, oh, I don't like you. Oh, but I care about you. But I don't like you. But I care about you. I'm like, just pick a lane, lady. I'm just so.
Well, she's struggling.
Okay. Here's my sexist comment for the day.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that just how women are?
I don't care. Not all women are
they
like
can't
that.
they can't make up their mind. They say one thing and do another. That's just.
I think that is a stereotype, which
Talk to any man and they'll tell you that. Come on.
Excuse me, princess.
Exactly. Link feels our pain. Come on, Roy. You've been married for a while. You know how this is.
Okay. The point is,
your wife is tough enough for you to throw her under the bus a little bit tonight. Okay.
I realize I'm expecting adult decisions from kids, and that's not fair. But it doesn't mean I like it. So I will leave it there. That's my first dislike. The whole Knox kissing the girl while she's inebriated and sleeping and knows she's with someone else. Let's go.
See, I'm looking at the chat right now. Your wife is agreeing. Is
I don't know if
actually
she's
kind
agreeing
of
on all
with
the
me.
things, though.
Yeah, she says stereotype, yes, not all, but not all of us. Like I am willing to go with that. I'm just saying.
Whatever Mrs. Captain says, I'm agreeing with that.
Mrs. Captain. Mrs. Captain.
Let's go to Bobo next. What's something you disliked? Something else you disliked?
Bobo, I think, has settled on his second dislike. The principal or whatever he is such a dink.
Yeah, I don't care for him.
Headmaster.
I'd love
yeah.
something to care about, like some like rapport he builds with the audience in some way, but no, you just don't like him at all.
Yeah, no, he's a dink, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 points that I was really dwelling on by the end of the movie was there was that whatever that story I think about they should let girls into the school, and he was like, when we find who did this, we're going to expel them, and then they find out who it was, and he's like, well, that was very naughty what you did.
No,
and
he said this is your last chance to admit it and not get expelled.
Yeah, I didn't buy that. And
there you go, Francisco. There's a humorous moment. Not just that, but when Robin Williams if you had said God called collect, that would have been funny.
I honestly didn't get that joke. Why would that have been worse if God called collect?
Because the distance to call used to be a thing back in the day. It was more expensive back then.
I forgot about that element of okay. That
it would have
makes
been
sense.
daring. He said what you did was not daring, but if you had said God had called collect, that would have been daring.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for
and
explaining
that line
the joke.
is funny. That's a
I could see the
line.
humor in it now.
humorous
Yes,
thing.
now that you have explained it, thank you.
Okay.
So there was that moment, and then toward the end where he's saying, get down off that desk right now, young man.
Yeah.
This is your final warning. If you
Well,
don't
that's
get off
because
that desk right now,
he's all bark and no bite except for the paddle.
exactly.
I was gonna say there was some spanking.
Yeah.
There was a spanking, but that's nothing. That's not expelling anybody. When he says, "I'm going to give you this final warning,"
well,
and then he gives another final warning.
This is your last chance.
He did
said
expel
it multiple times.
He did expel Rwanda and Mr. Keating.
Rwanda?
Yeah, wasn't that his name?
Nuwanda.
Yeah, that
Wanda,
too.
not
I'm
Rwanda.
sorry.
He expelled the country
I'm
of
sorry.
Rwanda.
Wakanda forever.
New Wanda forever. There's your episode title right there.
There's a new
Wanda
shirt idea.
forever.
Yes.
We'll get that shirt made quickly. But yeah, he felt inconsistent to me,
Yeah.
and aside from the fact that he's not supposed to be a character that we really like anyway. He's the kind of guy who's going to keep his school stuck in the mud in the long term, and as times change, he's not going to go with it.
Yeah.
And that school's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very, very fair. Let's go with Nathan next. Were you able to figure out another dislike?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's similar to what Bobo's talking about, and I will admit, I don't want to besmirch that 70s dad. I forget the guy's.
Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. He plays we talked before earlier. He plays this character remarkably well, but I will admit, due to some personal experience, it's a little difficult for me to watch him play this character because this character exhibits classic signs of narcissism, and I do not work well with narcissists. I have had several bad experiences with them. Long story short, I have discovered I have an uncanny ability to piss them off. So seeing what
did you work
seeing
with
what
Kurtwood
he's
Smith?
doing, where he's just dictating to his son, this is exactly what you're going to do, and you're not going to waste time on what I think are trivial, unimportant things. You are going to grow up to be a doctor. It's like, but that's going to take like 10 years. Oh, don't treat it like it's a prison sentence. Like he's gaslighting him. He's dictating to him what he's going to do, guilt tripping him at points. So like, I worked hard to give you opportunities that I never had and things like that. It's like, I've seen, this is what narcissists do. They manipulate and they control. But I will say what I think keeps him from being a genuine narcissist is I do think he has good intentions. He just goes about it the absolute worst way.
So well-written character. Another wrapped in a dislike. Okay.
Kinda. Yeah.
Kurtwood Smith's very complicated.
I will push back a little bit. I don't see him as a narcissist. I do see him as my way or the highway. He's not willing to
what are those graphs where they both have that in common?
A Venn diagram.
A Venn diagram.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't quite meet that level.
Like I said, I think what keeps him from being let me rephrase that. He exhibits narcissistic behavior, but I don't think he quite gets there because I do think he genuinely cares about his son. He's just going about things the absolute wrong way. He's a tyrant.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would say that. Though I will say, me and Ashley have been watching the miniseries John Adams that HBO did several years ago. Great so far. Really enjoying it. And there's a moment where John Adams and John Quincy Adams, his son, he's older. He wants to court this woman. And John Adams is like, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to go into your law office. You're going to continue on. You're going to stop this courtship or essentially I'm cutting you off or something like that. Or I'm offering you all these things, but you have to cut this courtship off. And he's like, well, let me think about it. No, you have to decide right now. And he's like, JQ, as Ashley likes to call him, is like, all right, I'll do it, Father. And he listens to his dad several times. And look, he became president. So, I mean...
You win some, you lose some.
I think it depends on the child. I think that's another factor here. That some children, yes, they care about what you have to say. They want to they see what you're doing, they want to emulate it. Even though they see it's hard, they're like, okay, but my dad, my mom did this. I see that that's the way I want to live my life, even if they're saying something that I don't agree with right now. Other kids want to completely rebel against it, or they're like, I don't want to be like you, Dad. I don't want to be like you, Mom. And you have to work with that and be like, okay, well, let's talk about how you can still be a functioning member of society while still. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. This is Nathan's dislike. I'm so sorry.
If I can jump in real quick too. As I mentioned, Kurtwood Smith had this, kind of worked out the character of how he had kind of a tough upbringing and was kind of a self-made man, and he was too focused on giving his son the advantages that he didn't have, and not enough on what his son actually wanted to do with his life.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's one thing great actors do is find that backstory and make that work.
Yeah.
And another example of that is Stacy Keach from a TV show called Titus, where Titus's dad would take a while to explain, but Ken Titus is the father of the main character, and he drank, he smoked, he womanized, and yet
Kissed women on the forehead without their permission.
Many times, many foreheads were kissed every night, but he met Ken Titus and he got to know him, and he kind of found the humanity in that character, like what brought him to those vices, and still found, like I said, something very human in him. And even though he was very, very tough on his son Christopher growing up, if you hear Christopher now, he'll say, like, yeah, when I became an adult, we became friends. Like, we actually, I understood what he was doing. He was being overly strict with me, but I understand those points to what you were saying, Francisco. He's one of those guys where he took to it a little bit better in the long term. And he said, like, okay, I get it, because if he wasn't strict with me, I would have been a total goof off, and I would have fallen into a bonfire and not gotten up. As it turns out, he did. He fell into a bonfire and he did get up, thankfully. But it's another story altogether. But yeah, that's.
So I'm a little confused. This all happened in a TV show, or this happened in real life?
Both.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But similarly, I think because he's like, I'm giving you opportunities I never had, I think there's a level of vicarious living that a lot of parents go through with their children. That's why that's why they get controlling and smothering, and they get, it's the stereotype, you want to call that, of the little league dad who yells at the umpire for calling a strike on his son or whatever. He's like, he's like, he didn't get a strike or whatever. It's like, you're blind or whatever. It's
killing me, Small.
fair point,
exactly.
Paul. Why don't you give us your last dislike before we get to our tragic makers?
This movie was a little too long, I felt.
Here.
I paused it a couple times to go for a bathroom break, and including that, it took like about 2.5 hours to get through, which is a bit long for this story, I think. Where it could have been chopped up, I think this was I think, Bobo, you said that it took a while for some of the other students to stand up on the desks. For me, that whole scene, they're trying to get like Mr. Keating out of the classroom, and the students are standing up. It's like a 2-minute scene from between the first stand up to where he finally says thank you. And that is just long. Like 2 minutes is a long time for that to pass through. And that could have, I thought it would have, and I don't know if this is me looking at modernized during the TikTok generation, quote unquote, where things are boom, boom, boom. I don't know if that's grating on that sense in me, but I felt this was a little bit too in the long side.
Yeah. Totally fair.
I didn't have a problem with the length. I thought it was moving pretty well for about the first half. I thought it was getting a little longer in the second half, but I guess it didn't bother me as much.
All right. That's fair. Well, what bothered you the most, Bobo? What was your tragic maker about Dead Poet Society?
This is where I would activate my Randmaster if I had one. Because this is He's reaching over. Man. We can end the mode this for
just for you, Bobo.
Grandmaster activated.
Thank you, sir. Oh, I've always wanted to do that. All right. One of two things I remembered about this movie, oddly enough, both Kurtwood Smith moments.
Oh, no.
And it is a moment when Neil returns to his dorm room.
Yep.
And his father's there, right? It's the day before the play starts.
Yeah.
And first, what sort of put the ball on the tee for me this time was he's like, "Father," and his dad says, "Neil," and he says, "Okay, Father, I can explain." And he says, "Don't you cut me off." I was like, "You didn't start a sentence yet. You just responded pleasantries to. You didn't start."
My thinking.
Yeah, I was like, I could let that go, but he explains how some lady had said, "Oh, heard my niece is going to be in a play with your son." And he says, "Well, that can't be. My son's not in a play. He's going to school. He's going to be a doctor. He's not doing any plays." And then he says the line, "You made a liar of me, Neil."
Right. That's
no, he
gasping.
didn't.
Yeah.
That is not what happened.
Like I said, narcissistic behavior.
Yeah.
See, I bought into that because he's saying something that he's thinking he's telling the truth, but he turns out he was lying because Neil had gone behind his back and was in the play.
Well, yeah. See, the problem that we're dealing with here is we have two characters who are both making poor choices.
Yeah,
right. They're extremes of both.
Yeah. But
I'm going to do something that they should have done back in the 1959. This was supposed to take place. What they should have done: gone to the internet.
Yes,
and I
with
bring
their
out
vacuum
dictionary.
tubes.
I bring out some dictionary from somewhere. Lie is defined as a false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive.
Well, it's an untruth.
It's
some
a
people define lying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Bobo, and how I personally feel, but some people feel any form of something that is untruth,
Falsehood,
like they say, if, and this could be in the spiritual speculation question.
Oh, here we go with our what's her name?
No. We're not going there. But it's often said like the devil will come at you with 90% truth, but it's that 10% little untruth that makes the whole thing a lie. And so I think it's more in that category where Rhett or this guy, the father, is thinking of you're making me. He in his head, it's equivalent of speaking an untruth, whether it's deliberate or not, unless he is, like we said, so far on his what'd you say, Nathan? He's making bad choices. He's so far in that character that he is defiantly telling this woman, "No, my son would never be in an act," and he is not.
I think what happened. This is my personal interpretation of that line. Is he said, "No, my son is not in that. There's no way my son is in that play," because he genuinely thought that he wasn't.
He's not in it. Right.
Yeah, but when he actually is, so he's guilt tripping the son by saying, like, "You made me a liar." Because,
the fact that he's saying you made me a liar and he's not a liar is actually making him a liar.
Good. Haha, 4G chest you.
Is that like the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
I think so. I think it's on par with that.
On another level.
But,
okay.
So, Bob,
you're weaving some poetry there.
I was going to say, how many friend levels do you have to go before you become an enemy again?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Bob,
but anyway, yeah, just to wrap up that point though. It's just that idea you made a liar out of me, and to me, going back to the commandments, the 10 commandments, saying you shall not lie. I can't consider it a sin if you tell me something when you firmly believe it's the truth. If you're saying something as if it's the truth and you haven't got the foggiest idea, that could be a lie. If you're telling me something to deliberately deceive me, that's definitely a lie.
Yes.
But if you tell me it's supposed to be nice out tomorrow because you believe it's supposed to be nice out tomorrow, and then it's actually not supposed to be nice tomorrow, but you misunderstood.
Yeah,
You
well,
misheard.
and then you start getting into some weird territory that I've heard some people talking about how, you know, bearing false witness
I was about to
is
say-
definitely a sin, but if you're, say you are deceiving an enemy on the battlefield, you know, which we can look at scripture and see people who did that and they were blessed by God for doing so.
What is her name?
Yeah.
I cannot think of it to save my. I know it starts with an R.
I know it. I know it's not Rama, but it's something like
We're getting
that.
into the spiritual speculation
Ramya?
from kindergarten.
Yeah, we
Pop
kind of
here,
are.
too,
I'm
if
just
you
saying,
wanna
like,
go
that
back
you can
and listen to that
complicate it
one.
even further and say, like, okay, yes, lying is a sin, but deception may not be.
Well, that's splitting hairs of like, oh, I'm not bearing you false witness because we're not in a court of law.
Speaking of splitting
Oh,
hairs,
yeah,
what are you doing, Francisco?
because murder is a legal term.
I
Right.
can't.
Yeah, but it
stand-
also distinguishes
Rahab!
Rahab, yeah,
Sakes.
because she deceived the the other people in Jericho.
Look at these
to
spies. They made a liar out of me.
Okay, we need to continue on. Nathan, what's your tragedy maker for this movie that you
My
love
tragic
apparently?
maker.
But what
What?
is your? You
I
love
do
it,
have
apparently, but
one.
what's your
I
tragedy
do
maker?
have one
Okay.
because I felt like, as much as I like this movie, and we kind of hinted at it a little bit before, but I'm going to zero out a specific example.
The
of this
kiss on
'cause
the
I thought
head.
this
I'm
was-
glad you agree.
No,
with
no, not that. Unfortunately, there are points where this movie has to resort to, I think even by this point in 1989, they would have been
1959?
considered.
No,
No,
by the
because the
time it
movie
was
was made
released.
1989.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, okay.
Even at this point, it would have probably been considered a bit of a tired cliche, and that is, and there's a couple in there you kind of point to, like, well, those are kind of cliche, but I think the most egregious one is, oh, it's the pretty girl with the jerk jock boyfriend. I'm like, oh, come on, can we do something else here? Can
No.
it not be the quarterback?
No,
who
because there
looks
are
like
some
he
things as
who
old
looks
as
like
time.
the only reason he's in high school is because he either squeaked by on D's or whatever. You shouldn't have gotten past like 6th grade or something. I don't know, because that's how her boyfriend kind of came. Well, at least his friends kind of came across that way. But and he's like everything that you would expect to see in that kind of a cliche character. The hair and the varsity jacket and and all of this. And I'm like, okay, we're doing it. Thankfully, he's not in the movie a whole lot.
Yeah.
But,
It's
if they were trying to give him a bigger role, I think I'd be more bothered by it. But the fact that they're still going this route, I'm like, come on, do something else. Don't just go the jerk jock route. Come on.
Well, it's a tale as old as time, and unfortunately, it happens multiple times a day to this day. I mean, whether as cliched as it is, it still rings true in real life. But yeah,
I get it. It's just after you see it enough, you're just like, okay, whatever.
Well, Paul,
yeah.
what do you wish was not in this movie?
I mentioned that. Okay, for my
tragic maker,
it's that the ending of this film, it's too heartbreaking.
It is.
Like it makes me not want to watch this. It makes it less rewatchable for me because I just don't want to go there.
Okay.
For me, I enjoy movies like escapism and such, so I don't want to be depressed. So I would like to watch this movie and enjoy it more often, but I can't because it's too good at being too heartbreaking.
Oh,
See what I did there, Nathan? I took your example.
I did. Although I'm kind of trying to understand what part is it?
The suicide.
Is it the suicide?
It is, and oh my gosh, the way the dad and the mom reacts is so well done. It's,
the lead.
Oh.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
this watching it for the show. I'm like, the lead up to when this actually happens, as tastefully done as it is, it feels like a horror movie.
Yeah,
a little bit.
a little bit, yeah. So I just don't want to go there oftentimes. So as much as like, oh, Dead Poets Society, should maybe not. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Just because of that.
Yeah.
So I think this movie
It is
suffers because
emotionally
of that.
intense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
There we
it's
go.
your tragic maker and your Kurtwood Smith maker.
Yeah.
Kurtwood Smith maker.
Speaking of Kurtwood Smith, my tragic maker is just I thought
He plays the same role in everything he does. I
no,
get it.
he's
No.
he's a different guy in RoboCop. He's much,
yeah. I was just about to say, except RoboCop.
He's like this character, but like full tilt criminal. But
I mean,
anyway.
I agree with Bobo. He is a fantastic actor, and he has that one note that he plays really well, and it's slightly tweaked, I think, well for each movie.
Mhm.
But Francisco, you might disagree, so continue.
His performance was fine. I thought he was believable as the dad, but no, I hated that the characters, both parents, just decided to blame someone else instead of looking at what impacts. And also, I was thinking about this more, and that darn
It's
kid
easier
Neil,
to deal with
heaven
if you do
forbid,
that.
if you're really going to go through killing yourself and it's your dad's fault, you write a note saying, this is because of you, Dad and Mom, for not letting me become an actor. Really stick it to him. No, you just like, oh no, well let's let everyone else suffer in the wake. Let me finish. In the wake of this suicide, let's let my classmates suffer and my they're teachers suffer. Yeah, because
activated.
I get that suicide is both a very heartbreaking and selfish act. So in that way, it's very realistic, but it's still like, come on. And so because of that, it leads the parents to just blame others instead of like thinking, oh, well, we just had a fight. Maybe it has something to do with that. No, it's like, I feel like people are just not don't have any self-reflection in this movie.
Would you say that Neil is in his right mind making the best decisions? Obviously not. Otherwise, he would have left a note, right?
Here's well, okay. No, that's a fair point. I was going to say, I remember reading somewhere that when you are in a mode of hatred, like when you feel hate, you become your clearness of thought becomes more attuned. I think it has to do with like when we're like tribal peoples, your enemy, you want to hate them, and it allows you to be more focused in doing whatever to destroy them or what have you.
Oh, I think I heard a Sith Lord talk about this one.
Exactly. Yes, I'm dealing in absolutes right now.
So you are the warlord.
Oh my gosh! Check out Junkyard Juggernauts on Kickstarter right now. But
shameless self-promotion.
I think there's but I wouldn't say he is in a mode of hate. He is in a mode of just utter pain. So that's a very different thing. So yes,
I think
you're right, Paul. He wasn't thinking clearly. Yeah, So
I think it's also the implication is that this has been a cumulative thing that has been going on for a long time. He has just been learning to deal with it, and then he feels inspired to go kind of do what he wants to do in spite of his parents' wishes, and then he has to basically deceive them. And I personally think that he was lying to Keating when he said, "Oh yeah, I talked to my dad."
Oh sure,
well, yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, I talked to my dad, and he didn't like it, but he's gonna let me do it. Clearly, that was not the case.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, so it's like all of these things just kind of piled on top of it, and then the coup de grace is him basically saying, I'm just going to run your life for the next 10 years. Here's what you're doing. You're going to be a doctor and blah, blah, blah.
See, that's why he needs to play the long game. If you could think more clear and be like, okay, I'm just going to wait this out. I won't act now, but I'm going to wait. And then as soon as I'm 18, see you, Dad.
That's what Keating told him to do.
Yeah. Yeah. But
see, you know, he had to deal with the fact that Dad
I thought you were going to go a different direction. I'll just wait till they're asleep and kill them instead.
Wow.
How do you think there might have been a draft where they went that route instead?
No, but I was listening to the commentary. I think the writer said, I think, or at least he hinted at one of the earlier drafts is that Mr. Keating was going to commit suicide.
Oh, interesting. Instead of Neil,
or
in addition.
In addition.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
so that there was actually going to be a double.
I think that would have killed this movie. Like that would have been Like that's too much depression.
Right.
Too
for
many
one of
Dead Poets
these. It would have
Society.
Right.
killed this.
All right. Well, now that we've all entered our trajectories into, actually, Edna mode. Paul, did you gave your tragic maker, right?
Edna mode.
Yeah, you did. You
Correct.
did your whole sound effect. Okay. Now,
Forget what I said. At least I played the Tragic Maker sound effect. No, I get it. It's more memorable.
Anyway,
Almost through it.
now that we've entered all our trajectories,
we need the little thing for whatever that video game is to pop up on Francisco's screen that just says
The rage meter.
wasted.
Yeah,
it just says wasted.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
rage meter. He needs that
Bite
too.
meter?
Yeah,
No.
the
And then
bite
after
meter
it
that
builds
he
up, he's
ripped
gonna
off of
unleash
Bobo
a
and made it
Shinku
into his
Hadouken.
own rage meter.
The bite meter's in the shop right now. So.
Oh, that's
let's give
why
it file rain.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo armed and ready to fire on your mark.
All
Justice
right.
for Salvo.
Do we rate Dead Poets Society a classic? We recommend anyone go see this, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth your time to revisit, to rewatch it if you remember enjoying it, even though obviously some very hard parts, but if you remember still enjoying the movie, yeah, definitely rewatch it. You'll maybe not have fun with it, but you'll enjoy the experience. But if you've never seen it before, pass this one by. Or do we rate Dead Poets Society a tragic? We'd recommend no one see this. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sell any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. Let's start with our guests as we like to. Bobo, you had predicted nostalgic. Where did it end up for you for your final rating?
Yeah, despite the claustrophobic feeling I got from being back on the school, I've been out of school for so long, and I just so many times in the classrooms outside of Keating's was just like, man, I'm so glad I'm not in school anymore. I don't want to be there. I really enjoyed this rewatch, and that scene that was my classic maker in particular was maybe even in the magical category for me.
Oh, wow.
Because I really dug into that. I really loved the way Ethan Hawke brought that out in that moment too. And so this got bumped up to classic for me. I think this is a film people should see, even if it's got a very difficult ending.
Mm-hmm.
I think the message that gets laid out about, taking a different perspective on things, and as I said, don't just live black, white, and gray. Get color
Carpe diem,
everything.
boys.
This movie should be shown to all teachers to illustrate to them what they need to do their jobs right,
and what signs to look out for suicidal students.
That's good too. For that
Actually, they do train them to do that. Trust me, I've been through it.
Oh,
Nathan, why did you train us in your final rating? You had predicted classic. What did it end up being?
I see what you did there. Watching it again, it's actually the second time I've watched it this year.
Oh wow.
And this was a much more pleasant experience. My previous one was a little less pleasant because of the people I was watching it with. But putting that aside, is it as perfect as I wish it was? No.
So tragic.
But
okay, we can continue on.
Is it? No.
I just heard you say it wasn't perfect, and
hey,
obviously,
don't cut me off. How dare you, child? Anyway,
it's Captain.
Oh, my captain.
Yeah,
but
Captain
anyway,
better.
yeah, it is still a classic for me.
Still a classic for you.
It is still a classic for me. I actually saw a similar movie to this a few years ago. I wish I could remember what it's called, but it was. But it was
Sir with Love.
No.
To Russia with Love.
To Sir with Love. It actually is. It's similar. It deals with racism and schools in.
It wasn't. It wasn't
like Dangerous
that, but
Minds.
It was. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. But no, it was similar. But and I kept making comparisons to Dead Poets Society while I was watching it. But I think the power of the performances, the nuanced storytelling that we're getting in here, the inspirational classroom scenes and and such. Like I understand now how this thing raked in as much money as it did, because that was a lot of bank that they had there. And yeah, so maybe I'm a little bit of a sucker for these sorts of things. There's a little too much of a poet in me, I suppose, but
Gotcha.
I loved it. And I wish we had more teachers like Mr. Keating.
Got it.
To be honest, I think honestly, when I was teaching, I was like, sometimes I would think back to this movie and I'd be like, I wish I could be like that. Yeah, I really do wish I could be like that.
Very
sometimes.
fair. All right,
Yeah.
so we have 2 classics so far. And before we get to me and Paul's rating, we like to go to you reflex capacitors who support the podcast. Thank you so much for your support. And if words, and you collectively rated Dead Poet Society a classic. So classic from you guys. Now 3 classics so far, so it doesn't really matter what me and Paul decide on. But Paul,
right? So I'm
have-
going to
Thanks for joining.
exercise. I'm going to exercise my right not to vote. Then
this isn't 12 Angry Men.
no, but that's what Wakanda said about
Wakanda.
That's right. I forgot about that part. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I didn't fall asleep. I didn't watch
Wakanda forever.
Paul,
So what now?
Just what's your rating, Paul?
Oh, this movie is, like I said, is too long. It's too heartbreaking. Yet I'd still recommend anyone go see it. It's a classic for me.
Classic for you. All right. So for me,
All right. Yeah, spoil it for us. All right.
For me, I didn't really connect with anything in this movie. I wanted to enjoy it to some extent. I wanted to enjoy Robin Williams. I wanted to enjoy the relationships, but this is just blah. I did not like it. I don't know why. I feel like the tragedy at the end isn't as earned as it should have been. I feel like there's plenty of ways out.
Well, that's often the case with suicide.
That's fair. I also really, and I didn't mention this, but I didn't like that Kurtwood Smith, seeing his son get so much,
Kurt Cobain,
whatever his name was, the father of
that would have made this a very different movie.
Getting so many accolades in the performance, I feel like that would have turned most parents to be like, oh, okay, I guess my son is something he's really good at, or something, or given some credence to be like, you know what, maybe let's talk about this acting thing. And that I guess that's not the point of the movie, but I like, what is the point of this movie? What is the point of this movie? I think I'm missing
It's
something.
supposed to inspire. It's
How
supposed
is
to
it inspiring to?
It inspires me.
Oh,
It inspired me to remember the 4 tenets that we're all supposed to remember: classic maker, tragic maker, Edna mode, salvo authority.
Hard to argue with that. But
classic. All right.
No. All that being said, it's just a tragic for me. I'm not sure why people are so goo goo gaga over this movie. Why it made $240 million. I just don't see it. It's not a movie for me, and that's fine. I don't think it's not in my unmovie realm. I definitely see it as a movie. It's a story that goes all the way through and everything. But yeah, it's just not one I would ever want to watch again. And I wouldn't recommend people watch it. I'd much rather recommend people watch Mrs. Doubtfire. I remember liking Good Morning Vietnam, but it's been a while. And if we're talking about Robin Williams movies, Aladdin.
Yeah. Actually, Good Morning Vietnam actually inspired a part of my podcast.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, my greeting when the episode is when I start an episode, it's like, hello, Kaijo. It's
Exactly.
Good Morning. It's Robin Williams saying Good Morning Vietnam.
Yep,
And so
exactly.
that's some fun little bit of lore about the podcast for you.
So all that being said, according to the Retro Realm podcast, with 4 classics and 1 lone tragic, we rate Dead Poets Society a disputed classic film. We recommend anyone go see it, whether or not they've seen it before, much to my chagrin. But now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
ComSat Online. Awaiting incoming transmissions.
20XX?
Yes, 20XX. It feels good to be back.
Shouldn't we be fighting robot masters right now?
No. It feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1989 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflex capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, That's Our Bobo. Oh, you're right here. Woohoo! D. Tungsten, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin He's a Big Deal Warford, Flux, Redeemed Otaku, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done because this stream is sponsored by pauljpowers.com.
So, Francisco, is there any ways to support the show and you, Captain Captain, without digging into our wallets?
I'm just very curious. Did you come up with the poem, or did Nate come up with the poem? Not this Nate Henderson.
That would spoil that I did.
All right. It was very good. I liked it. I liked it very much. So I was just curious. But what were you saying? Free ways to support the show? No highways, only freeways?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are people? We're so thankful that people donated.
We're not putting in the no tolls option on this trip.
No, sorry. What were you saying, Paul?
We're very appreciative of those who do support financially, but those who want to support the show, who are not in the position to support financially, how can they help support the show?
Yeah. So you probably enjoyed this episode either because you agreed with everyone else or you agreed with me. You're like, yes, stand strong, Francisco. I hate this movie too.
Hey, he's being a free thinker right now. He's doing what Mr. Keating taught us all to do.
Oh, dang it. I don't like that. Okay, maybe I'll change my mind to classic.
I changed my mind. I choose to conform. It's a classic. You don't...
Here,
lose either way.
I have used your own logic against you, sir.
Anyway. So
beauty of free thinking, lose either way.
You probably, no matter who wins, we lose. You probably enjoyed this episode if you made it this far. So if you aren't driving, tap the share icon in your podcast player for this episode and send it to a friend saying, I know you like Dead Poet Society, so I thought you would like this podcast about it.
What about Deadpool Society?
Deadpool Society.
We haven't covered that yet.
Oh.
All right. But we'll thank people for sharing, and we want to thank our guests for coming on and sharing their thoughts about Dead Poet Society. So I'd like to go alphabetical order. Let's start with David or Bobco or Bob. He all become before Nathan and Martin. So let's start with Bobo. Where can people find you online?
That's the problem with being in the middle of the alphabet.
Yeah. So how can people find you online, Bobo, if you want to be found?
They can't and they shouldn't.
All right.
Unless you already know me. But I will say,
and yet here you are, sir, tempting us all.
Well, people can't miss me unless they see me once in a while and think, where is that guy?
Good point.
No, it's because you keep throwing mad balls at people.
I guess so. But I'm just going to try to throw Francisco off by saying thank you to Alutrick for enhancing the show's music. Alutrick.bandcamp.com or youtube.com/@Alutrick8266. Alutrick spelled ALLOOUTRICK.
Good job.
Oh, did you see that? That was a mic drop right there.
All right. And
it was
Nathan.
like David Letterman when he would throw the cards through the window with no glass, and they would put the glass sound effect. That's all we were missing.
Well done, Bobo. Well done. Oh,
there you go.
And Nathan, how can people find you online? And is there anything cool you got going on that people should know about?
Oh, I got so many things. I'm always doing things. I'm a writer and a podcaster, obviously. I'm on the podcasting front. I'm the host of such podcasts as the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. You already got the plug for that, so we'll skip that one for now. And I'm also one of the co-hosts of Henshin Power V3, where three friends have 3 minutes to talk about tokusatsu. In that show, it's a television focused podcast where we talk about shows involving transforming superheroes. Doesn't matter if it's live action, animated, Japanese, or anywhere else, although we haven't done an American show quite yet. And our gimmick is that we'll go through 5 to 10 episodes of a television show, but we only get to talk about each episode for 3 minutes, just like Shin Hayata can only be Ultraman for 3 minutes if you watch classic Ultraman. So give that one a listen. It's very rapid fire to say the least. And the reason why you heard a little plug tonight, and I'll announce it on this episode, even though it's going to the official joining isn't going to be until the next seasons of each show gets started. Both the Monster Island Film Vault and Henshin Power V3 are now proud members of the Culture Box Network. Woo! Thank you. Yeah, all joking aside, thank you guys very much for admitting both of my shows. I get it. I'm practically the unofficial third co-host on Cellcast at this point. They just keep finding more animated Titanic movies with childish octopus kaiju to make me watch. So they're gonna find more. They will probably use AI to make another one just to bring me on again.
Probably
they will rent, what is it, like Google VO or whatever it's called, VO3 or whatever, for like $250 just to say make an animated Titanic movie full of lies and octopus kaiju. Made in North Korea. But anyway, so give those a listen, obviously. And if you want to check out my writing, including a new book that I hope to have out before the end of the month. We'll see how that goes. But it's a new short story collection called
today the end of the month.
I was about to say,
no,
you
the
have
end
like
of July,
hours.
the end of July, sir.
When
Don't
this
mess
comes
with
out.
me. Don't mess with me. I get it. We're all talking about the importance of language, but only I get to be a stickler for that sort of stuff.
And the listener 3 years from now has some hope.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's called the Worlds of Nathan Marchand Volume 2, Tales of the Lost and Lonely. So hopefully that will be out, like I said, by the end of the month. It's a collection of unpublished short stories that I just want to get these out there. I want to get a new book out as if I can. I'm also, and I can't talk about this, I also contributed to the latest volume. It should be out relatively soon, of Finding God in Anime. I have 2 entries in that one. Where I think I can mention this. I wrote
There's
entries.
There's a commie.
I wrote entries using Gatchaman, the 70s Henshin Hero TV show that when I watched it, I'm like, Super Sentai totally ripped this off a couple of years later. And as you would expect, Gamera Rebirth, the Gamera, it's Gamera, not Gamera, sir.
Gamora?
Anime that
Gamora?
Gomera? What? Yeah.
Gordito?
And then I'm another quick thing I'll mention really quick. I am also a member of the NathanJSMarchand.com. That's my author website. And I'm also a member of the stable of actors at Scyther Podcast, which makes fan-produced, high quality, I might add, very professional, fan-produced audio dramas, including X-Men the audio drama, Power Rangers the audio drama, and Avengers the audio drama. And I have appeared in all 3 of those shows. On Power Rangers, I was notoriously Rito, the obnoxious little brother of Rita Repulsa. Okay. And on Avengers, whenever they have crossovers with the Fantastic Four, I'm Johnny Storm, baby.
Nice.
And the weirdest one, and I still can't process that I was personally asked to do this on X-Men. I've so far only been a cameo as a post-credit gag. I was, of all people, Deadpool.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Fun.
So, yeah, go give those a listen. They have another show.
I was supposed to say, did they have opening for Gambit for a Cajun accent?
Gambit's already been cast.
Oh, sorry,
no,
Francisco.
but that could have been Gambit. Oh,
It could have been Gambit.
breaks my
I
heart.
get it. But then we could have had a funny conversation where Eric could be like, he was like, "Who was your speech coach? The Minions." And,
What are you saying? This is my Cajun accent. This is very Cajun.
But they also have another show called Trial of Bruce Wayne, which this is not hyperbolic. This is one of the most unique Batman stories I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be appearing on that show, but I won't say as who yet.
Oh, it sounds like a riddle to me.
He's already been on the show. So and it was one of my friends, and I told the guy running the show, I was like, if it comes down to me and him, go with him, please. Because he loves this character.
Well, very, very cool. Thank you so much, Bobo and Nathan, and just really appreciate you guys being on the show. Also, thank you to my awesome as schoolmate. Yeah, I guess we were schoolmates. Schoolmate Paul, and all you rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage. I was gonna play the Al trick, but Bobo beat me to the punch. So
good job, Bobo.
Thank you, Al Trick, for enhancing our audio. I will leave it to Paul next.
Oh, you don't want to find people. You don't want people to find you on Discord. Okay, or play the. Oh,
thank you,
no.
also, Paul. I want to thank you again.
Sorry, I messed up. That's my fault.
Links in the show notes. Like and subscribe.
There you go. And you're welcome. I am pauljpowers.com. You can find out what I've been up to lately and all my social media links at pauljpowers.com.
You can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
As the blabbering schoolmaster just said, we are now part of Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery, and now featuring the Monster Island Film Vault at culturebox.media.
Yes, thank you, EXO, and thank you for listening. We pray you are all more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for...
Wait for it. Oh.
For Three Amigos, our next adventure on the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to base to await next mission.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Your line is, I wish to free the genie anytime.
I'm out of here.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Who Will Save Generation X podcast? Ashley, D. Tungsten, Bobo, who's also here. Paul, who's also here. Let's see anyone else I'm missing. Dale, of course. I'm scrolling through. I think that's my history.
Geek Devotions who rated and
Geek Devotions who rated. Cellcast
was
here. I'm Not the Bee. Thank you, everyone who's still stuck around. We're going to be ending the stream, but going into our spiritual speculation segment, where we'll talk about the spiritual themes that we found in this movie. And those will be available to the people that support the show for $5 a month. Yes, and also you, Monster Island Film Vault. Oh, you're right here too. But thank you guys so much. And until next time, here is your stream face.
Nuwanda forever!
Go check out Junkyard Juggernauts on Kickstarter. Buy it. Get the instruction booklet. Tear the introduction out. Tear the introduction out.
Junkyard Juggernauts.
Did you say
Kickstarter.
tear the introduction out?
Juggernauts.